All right, Thursday night football is in the wraps. That was one thing I learned about that game, or not learned about that game. One thing that I was reminded on them when while watching that game was that football is all about matchups. And I remember I sat there and I said how good the 49ers defense was going to play this game. And because they got Greenlaw back and well, even though he didn't finish the game, but their defense came out and they played probably better than they did all year to my remembrance. But the game was very competitive, and the 49ers defense kept this game very, very close. It was unfortunate that the 49ers offense couldn't get anything rolling, and that a lot of that had to do with the lack of productivity to Brock Purdy's receivers, but their defense showed up, man. And I think there was like a linebacker, I can't remember the guy's name. He walked out in the third quarter because he was aggravated or pissed off that Greenlaw was back, and he pretty much just told Kyle Shanahan that he ain't playing no more. And that to me is extremely immature. And Greenlaw is a stud. He is other than Fred Warner, he is the heart and soul of that defense. He is arguably the best player on that defense. He's probably arguably better than Fred Warner. Fred Warner has had his struggles this year because Greenlaw has been out. And it's interesting because when Greenlaw was in, Fred Warner was rolling a lot of cylinders. When Greenlaw got out, Fred Warner was struggling. So, I don't know what the hell who this guy think he is, just because you were filling in, bro. This wasn't like your role. It was dumb, it was irresponsible, and it was immature. And he's probably going to if I was part of the coaching staff, if I was the front office, I would release his ass. Like if that was me, I would. Because that was just ridiculous. But anyway, that's besides the point. He made his decision, whatever. But the 49ers were very competitive in this game, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, I said that their defense was going to show up. Why did I say the Rams was going to drop 30 points? And I guess because I was thinking that even though the 49ers defense was going to come out there and be physical and they were going to play good, I guess I was just thinking that I was so caught up in the Rams offense. I was so caught up in Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, thinking that they were really going to the whole offense was going to out physical the 49ers defense. But still, I don't know. But I'm not really too surprised about the score. I'm not too surprised about 12-6 because those are how games are. Like I said, football is about matchups. Like the Rams is not going to play the 49ers the same way they played the Bills. Like the good teams, the great teams, they know how to game plan and they know how to play to matchups, and they know how to play situational football. And the Rams is obviously a well-coached, good team. Same for the 49ers. The 49ers record doesn't show, but the 49ers obviously has had their struggles this year. And, Deebo Samuel, he has been a huge disappointment. He has not played well at all this year. He's over there crying on social media talking about, oh no, I'm not going through my struggles. It's just the fact I'm not getting the ball. So they do everything they can to give him the ball, and he does not show up. I don't know if this is the first time, but during the game, he freaking pretty much tackles his own running back. He runs right in front of the running back. And then the running back falls, and then they get him on a third down, and he's running like a slant route, and then he drops the ball. So bro, like you got to show up for your team. Yeah, Deebo Samuel, he's I don't know. But anyway, the 49ers offense did not show up for Brock Purdy at all. Outside of George Kittle, nobody was there to help out Brock Purdy. It's even Jennings. So it's kind of interesting to see where the 49ers is going to go from here. Evidently, I know they're going to still fight and still try to close out this season with the fight and close out the season with some wins. I know the 49ers is going to do that. I know Kyle Shanahan is going to coach them to do that. But it's a huge disappointment right now with the 49ers. And it's going to be very interesting to see how they're going to approach this offseason, who they're going to keep, who they're going to release, if they're going to sign Brock Purdy, or if they're going to keep him for another year without signing him. The 49ers got their work cut out for them. I think the best thing the 49ers can do, though, is still play their best football. Still play 49ers football and close this season on a good note and bring that momentum into the offseason until next year. That's what I would do if I was the head coach for the 49ers. And I'm pretty sure that's what they are going to do. So the weather, this game was kind of impacted by the weather. But the weather did kind of like let up later on in the game after the second half. And I mean, after this loss, the 49ers hopes did take their playoffs hopes did take a huge hit. It's kind of interesting because I think they still have a chance of making it to the playoffs, but they're not. I don't see that happening. I mean, you got the Seahawks, you got the Rams. I don't see that happening. If they would have won this game, it definitely could have helped them out. But they're thin on offense due to injuries, and like I said, nobody stepped up for them. Samuel, he dropped easy passes at key point, and he finished with just 3 receptions on 6 targets, totaling 16 yards. That's just terrible. It was punts and field goals and missed opportunities all game for both teams pretty much. Matthew Stafford, he didn't really so much play a good game, but he did make some key throws down the field. Him and Puka Nacua was, once again, he showed up, he showed out. He's a phenomenal receiver, great wide receiver. Puka Nacua, he can probably end up getting into maybe the top 5 wide receiver bracket, maybe. I mean, if he keeps snapping off, I don't know. I mean, Puka Nacua is definitely doing his thing. I don't know about top 5, but definitely maybe about top 7, top 8. So, let's see here. First half, 8-8 at 3-3. Both teams kick long field goals. The Niners were first on the board. 53-yard field goal from Jake Moody. Yeah, let's see here. The Rams took the first lead of the game with the field goal. They began with one of the most thrilling plays of the game. Matthew Stafford connected with Puka Nacua for 51 yards. And then rather than go for it on 4th and 2, the Rams opted for a 27-yard field goal to make it 9-6. Brock Purdy's deep throw. He did throw an interception this game. It was picked off by Darius Williams. And that turnover resulted in 3 more points by the Rams, extending their lead to 12-6. So, let's see. The 49ers, they were in the Super Bowl last year, but they were more than likely missed the playoffs this season. Yeah. And so, let's talk about that interception. I mean, I know Brock Purdy was trying to make a play. It was a bad throw. I mean, it wasn't a necessary interception. It was a throw that he could have did a little better on throwing the ball from avoiding that interception. And here I am. I was speaking good on Brock Purdy before the game, and but I don't want to get too hard on Brock Purdy because again, he doesn't really have any help, and I watched the game, and his stats doesn't show it, but he didn't necessarily, outside of that interception, he didn't necessarily play a bad game given what he was given, from his offense. So I think, Deebo Samuel dropping passes, Jennings not showing up. The only guy showing up for him was George Kittle. The Rams was going to bring the heat. The Rams, they were going to play really good defense. The Rams do have really good defensive players on their side of the ball. So I think given all of that, Brock Purdy played an okay game. He wasn't bad. And I know the media is going to crush Brock Purdy, or they're not going to release someone. They're going to overlook Brock Purdy. But Brock Purdy has earned my respect. I like to see players, especially quarterbacks, try to make something out of nothing when all goes wrong. And to me, Brock Purdy is a leader. He is extremely mature. He knows how to keep things together, and he knows how to go out there, be a professional, and still at least put forth the effort on making something out of nothing. And that's what I like. All those years when Brock Purdy was playing well, snapping off, and he didn't buy me through that. He didn't buy me when he kind of bought me when he played in the Super Bowl, but this year really bought me more than anything because it can't get any worse than this for Brock Purdy. And I think the 49ers should sign him because all's going bad for the 49ers. Your so-called key weapons, Debo and Ayuk, all of them kind of Ayuk, all year, all off season, to me, just being unprofessional in my opinion. Talking about he wants to go to the Steelers, he wants to go to the Redskins, he wants to play with Jaden Daniels, who he played in college, et cetera. So there's a bunch of distractions. He does all that just for him to sign. The Patriots wanted him, and he goes, I don't want to go to New England. And, it's just a bunch of distractions, and then all of a sudden he signs, and then the first few weeks of the season he gets injured. Season-ending injury, and then Deebo Samuel not showing up, and then Christian McCaffrey getting hurt, and then, Christian McCaffrey only playing like a few games, and then, the only player that shows up for him is George Kittle consistently, and sort of Jennings, and Ricky Pearsall, he's nowhere to be found. He's not doing a damn thing. He looks like a wasted draft pick. So I mean, it's like I like what I see out of Brock. I do. The stats doesn't show it, the record doesn't show it, but I've watched some 49ers games. I've seen some film on Brock Purdy, and he has earned my respect. He really has, and I like it. I like that. I like to see when all goes wrong, what can you do with that, especially at the quarterback position. So I think Brock Purdy deserves a shot, deserves a chance, long term with the 49ers. So, yeah. Because everybody was like, oh, what if when the 49ers, when they get him to his big contract and he loses players, what are they going to do? Will Brock Purdy be able to still hold it together? Will he still be able to be good? Will he still be able to perform, produce? And he is. He's kind of productive, He is. So yeah, I mean, this is the playoffs, sort of, for the Rams and the 49ers. The Rams is not in the playoffs yet, but the Rams can get in the playoffs, and they can, like I said, I predicted the Rams to win their division. The Rams is fighting to get into the playoffs, so they're playing playoff football right now. So I think what Brock Purdy did, with the minimal resources that he has, I think he's done an excellent job. I think he's did pretty good. So yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, so I mean that's really all I have. To play the game was, I guess, Puka Nacua in the first quarter. He made a hell of a catch on Travarius Ward's helmet to secure the football. It was a helmet catch. I think that was pretty cool. And that's kind of it. That's all I really have to say. But I went over Deebo Samuel struggles. I talked about George Kittle still showing up for Brock. What I liked out of Brock Purdy. What I was reminded today was football was about matchups. And that's something that I should have remembered. As I was doing my prediction. That the Rams is going to play the 49ers differently than they played the Bills. And, that's a sign of a good team, a good coach. And that's situational football. So, football is about matchups. So that's all I have, really. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what the 49ers are going to do in the offseason. And it's going to be interesting to see where the Rams is going to go. I know no NFC team is really going to want to see the Rams. The Rams is going to fight hard. I don't think they're going to go deep into the playoffs, but they have the potential to do it. And, that's all I have, man. And so we'll be back tomorrow soon. And thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you think of how you feel about tonight's game. Did you think it was competitive? Did you think it was boring? Was you expecting a high scoring game? You know, or was you very, or was this not a surprise that this was a low scoring game? Do you think that the Rams is going to make the playoffs, or do you think they're going to win the division? Let me know how you feel in the comments. All right, thank you so much for watching. This is All Day. We'll be back soon. Take care.